Did you know that 70% of Americans do not have an estate plan? Hi, I'm Mackenzie Sorge. I'm the founder of View Ridge Family Law and Estate Planning. We are about to see the biggest shift in generational wealth from one generation to another in this country in the upcoming years, and we are not prepared for it. I work with families all the time planning for their estates, and I can tell you some of the biggest mistakes that I see people making when they're talking about their estate plans. I'll share those with you today so that you will be more prepared. The biggest mistake that I see is an incomplete plan. I know this sounds very obvious, but many times people start their estate planning, they maybe do an initial draft, and then they set it aside and don't ever come back to complete it. And that can cause chaos and conflict, confusion for your family members after your passing, because you may have given them the impression that it was done, but it really isn't done unless you've properly executed your estate planning documents. The second biggest problem that we see is an outdated plan. It's great to have a plan, but an outdated plan can cause just as much confusion as having no plan at all. You need to periodically look at your estate planning documents and think about whether it still makes sense. Are the people named to take care of things still around? Are the assets that you were planning for still in your portfolio? These are important things to check on periodically. The rough rule of thumb is to look back at your estate plan every 3 to 5 years, or after any major life events, like a marriage, a death, buying or selling a house. The third biggest mistake that we see is not keeping your beneficiary designations up to date. So what I'm talking about here are the beneficiary designations on your accounts, like your retirement accounts, 401ks, bank accounts sometimes, life insurance policies. All of these types of accounts have beneficiary designations, and they often pass outside of your will or your trust. So it's very important to keep these things up to date and periodically checking on them to make sure it still makes sense for your family and that it coordinates with the rest of your estate planning. So these are just a few of the big mistakes that we see people encounter when they're dealing with their estate planning. There are more, which is why it is important to work with an experienced estate planning attorney who can help you avoid these pitfalls. And it's so important that you take care of this estate planning early and often so that your family is not left with chaos and confusion after your death. If you are ready to make sure that your family is taken care of and that your wealth is passed on to them in a way that protects them and is understandable and does not cause any more burden after your death, give us a call.